hearing you on the right side.
Okay.
And just to test that, I'm going to play a little music.
All right.
And see if it's coming out of both of my speakers.
Wow. Says this is just coming across Google. It says,
hold on. 1 second.
Hold on. That's me. Let me turn that down. There we go. Says Hangouts on Air is going away later this year. Yeah, that's what I thought. You can just use webcam.
All right. Say something, Craig.
Check 1, check 2. Rump shaker.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Yeah. How's everything going on your end?
Oh man, I can't complain. Family's doing well. Went ahead and got trying to get an 8K TV here by the time these new consoles come out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that Samsung Q, whatever it was, I saw that at Best Buy.
Q900, I think.
Yeah, I saw that at Best Buy today, and I was just like, I mean, it's one of those things. I just stood in front of it and just marveled at the technology and the colors. They had that, they had that with the flowers, and they showed the bee landing on the flowers, and the contrast, the yellow and the blacks, and it's the black colors on the bee, not these black dudes. So
hey, one thing I can tell you, Craig, man, the technology is getting so good in these TVs where I checked out that Samsung myself, and I was hard pressed to tell the picture quality different than the OLEDs that's out there.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got the Z9G.
Yeah.
The Sony.
How was that treating you?
Listen, man, I've had it for about 3 weeks. Have yet to put it up. I gotta call and schedule the guys to actually install it.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's a 85-inch, so I gotta call them to do that. But man, I've been traveling like I don't know what. So
yeah, you the traveling man. I've been everywhere, man. That's
exactly. I feel just like that.
Yeah. Well, how's your family doing, bro?
Oh, they're good, man. Can't complain at all.
Yeah.
Wife, kids, everybody doing good.
All righty. Well, early happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Or as I like to call, happy I didn't pull out day. That's what I'll call it on Facebook tomorrow. But
you're right about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, I got 5 kids. I am lazy.
Yeah. 5 kids, man. You've been listening to that H-Town down there, brother.
There you go, man. There you go. Somebody rocking, knocking the boost. That's our theme song down here.
Oh yeah. Gotta and I heard that do you have a Whataburger down there?
Yeah, we got Whataburger all over here in Texas.
Yeah, you saw what they sold to a bank, and so we're hopefully they're going to be coming in
Chicago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So what up, everybody? We're live. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But what's up, everybody? Certainly hope everybody is glad to. I am so glad everybody is here. It is Saturday. It is the day before Father's Day. So 15. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody's had a good one. And I am here with a special guest, Mr. Multiplayer Podcast himself. It is J-Dub City. J-Dub, go ahead and shout yourself out, brother.
Yo. What up, my people? What's going on? It's your boy J-Dub, the artist formerly known as Kratos. And I'm here on the panel again with Craig on the couch. In his, I guess I wouldn't say the couch, I'll say the chair. It's the man with the green chair.
Oh yeah.
But he got a little blue chair, with a PlayStation logo on it, sitting right next to him. So what's up, everybody? Big Cloud, all you guys, J-Dog, Andrew Wilkins, all you guys. What's up, man?
Yes. Shout out to everybody here. Let's see here. Spartanac, Lay, Andrew Wilkins, Juntaku Game 3, Mr. RD Matador, Big Cloud, how you doing? So shout out to Big Cloud and RGT podcast yesterday. Had a good time on there. Those other guys, man, they're hilarious. They were up at 11 o'clock last night playing World War Z. So shout out to those guys. And they got I want to get the Cool Cat to get her to come on my podcast, stop by one day and chop it up with her. She's a Twitch gamer, and she's, so yeah, I want to definitely chop it up with her to get my Twitch game up and going. But all right, man. Well, let's. I've got the topics down here. Wanted to kind of browse Microsoft's E3 and then Microsoft's future. That want to get your overtake. Because you, like you said, you dabble in both sides of it. You talk to Xbox guys and PlayStation folk, if you want to call it that, about why the power thing is going on online right now, on what console is going to be more powerful, what devs and stuff are saying. It's giving the Xbox folks diarrhea. It's giving them fits on possibly the PS5 being more powerful. Not to me, it doesn't matter. But I wanted to get your. But let me ask you, what do you think Microsoft's future is going to be after E3?
I think there's some realization and some deep soul searching for a lot of the fans. We've been talking about this stuff, Craig, for years.
Correct.
And guys have been watching it unfold in their face, and it seems like every E3 or every event, Microsoft and Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and the rest of those guys give these interviews, and they're direct with these guys. They're telling what the plan is.
Yeah.
And like Phil Spencer and Matt Booty said, they are a third-party publisher that just so happened to make hardware. So I think that's the realization that Xbox, the console, is not a high priority for them. Yes, they will continue to make hardware, but I don't personally think they're going to keep investing billions and billions of dollars to be the most powerful, latest and greatest PC technology inside the box for $400 to $500. That's just not going to cut it. If anything, they'll make a PC type device because, again, they've been trying to usher you away from the console on the way to kind of push you out the door to go get a PC. They put their games on Steam. They have exclusives for PC that's not on the Xbox. I mean, what else do they have to tell you?
Yeah, you don't believe me or your lying eyes.
Exactly.
All right, so you think? All right, let me ask you something else too, because you brought up something. Your second point. We've been talking about this for the last year or two.
Yeah.
Do you? And I asked Titanfall Princess this too. Don't feel like you're on the spot here. Do you feel somewhat vindicated by what has just transpired over the last 3 weeks? The game's going to Steam, Microsoft becoming third party, then people saying they weren't third party, then Microsoft coming out being Matt Booty, you brought up being quoted. Was it yesterday or the other day saying we're third party? I saw you put that on Twitter earlier today. If you all don't know in the chat, shout out to the chat. Matt Booty came out at some point in the last 48 hours and said they are a third party developer. I'm paraphrasing, but he mentioned third party. He mentioned Nintendo. So he says they're a third party developer for Nintendo. I think it was something like that. So that's a quote from the head of Xbox games. But do you feel, back to what I was asking, do you feel somewhat vindicated? Because I know you've been going on to the multiplayer podcast and you're chopping it up over there. I did listen to you all's it was like the E3 reaction show and the outright decimation that those guys were feeling. Like, I felt them hurting. But do you feel somewhat vindicated? And I've asked Titanfall Princesses too. So
I wouldn't say I've been vindicated because, again, it's one of those things, you see reality, but you don't want it to be that way. And I don't want it to be that way. I do want Microsoft to backtrack and have exclusives again and focus on the hardware again and focus on the games again and kind of, have tunnel vision when it comes to the console. They're not doing that right now. Right now, they're scatterbrained. They're focusing on the cloud. They're focusing on the Switch. They're focusing, talking about the PlayStation. They're talking about the PC. They're focusing on that. They're everywhere but where I believe they need to be. And maybe that's just me and my selfish gaming hobby. But at the end of the day, Craig, man, I've spent thousands of dollars on the Xbox consoles this generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the world's most powerful console with nothing to play on it, and nothing to justify my purchases. So it's going to be really hard for them to sell me on a Anaconda or Scarlet or whatever else they want to call it. So yes, I don't feel personally vindicated, but I know a lot of people do feel vindicated because they've been saying this stuff, and guys just don't want to listen. Even right now, with Matt Booty and Nadala and all those and Phil and all those guys saying straight to the point, this is what it is. Guys still don't want to believe it. They're still in denial, and I don't understand it. I don't see how they can be much clearer.
I was going to say, why do you think? Well, I feel vindicated. Let me just get that out of the way. I'm petty like that. Like I said, graduated number 21 out of 20 in my tech class. Fuck nigga university. Got the paperwork right here. So, but yeah, I feel extremely vindicated. So,
yeah.
But let me ask you, why do you think there's some people in denial?
Most of those guys, let's face it, they're not really gamers. They are Microsoft fanboys. They're not Xbox fanboys. They're Microsoft. They're Phil Spencer and Nadala and the rest of those guys. They're I call them the executive lovers. They love having their tweets replied to. They love having Phil and them in party chats. They love shaking hand and taking pictures with these guys at events. That's what those guys are doing. They're in it because they love these executives. They love these guys. They don't care about the games, because if they did, they would, be walking around with pitchforks and torches.
I don't disagree with what you just said. I think that wow. I think that's a great point. I would be furious. Now, a friend of mine, I'm not without my own connections here. A friend of mine who works for GameStop. Okay. He's a district manager, and he had told me about several weeks ago about Xbox putting games on Steam. I couldn't say anything. He just said, "Well, simply tell people Xbox is going to do some things that are going to make gamers happy, but it was going to piss off the Xbox fans." And then within 2 weeks of him telling me that, the games went to Steam.
Wow.
And so and I called him. I said, "Man, was that it?" He's like, "Yeah." He said that pretty much ended their hardware. And so the GameStop stores in my state, they're shrinking the where Xbox is, like where the games are. They're shrinking that down. They're putting more like apparel and is it fun? I said Fun Pop. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Fun Pop.
All right. There, my bad. That 4K UHD player kicks to off, and my regular TV came back on. They're expanding that, and they're expanding the Switch spaces.
Wow.
But they're condensing the Microsoft game space.
Well, that makes sense.
So yeah, but so you just think like you said, people are in not a denial, but they're more like they're just fanboys of Microsoft and they're in shock, so to speak. So, but no, I say it's sort of like Alice tumbling down the hill to Wonderland. So, but I love hearing their reactions. That was worth 1,000 words. So what did you think of E3,
J-Dub? Honestly, man, if you want my opinion, all you got to do is just look at Twitter and YouTube and see the chaos that's going on. That's the summary of E3 for me. Even Phil Spencer himself, which to my amazement, said he wished that Sony and PlayStation was at E3. I can't make that up. You can't get mad at me for saying that. He said that himself. And that tells you a lot when the executive, the head guy over at Xbox, tells you, "We wish Yoshida and them was in house." That is, oh man, I can't say it. I can't say it enough. That is cringe worthy. That's cringe worthy, man. God.
Yeah, because Ford never says, "I wish Chevy was here."
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God. McDonald's doesn't say, "I wish Wendy's was here."
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Shout out to Paul G. He said they moist. Yeah, that's another thing you could probably put there too. They it's that, but listening to them just squirm, it was like I just felt like a sweaty squirm that they got themselves worked up into over this week. So what game or games did you see that you're really excited about? That you like, man, you went and already ordered
listen,
day one.
all the multiplats that they show there. Believe it or not, Flight Simulator. I'm a big flight. I have a flight stick, simulation and all that stuff. So I'm a big flight fan, especially I can't wait for it to come to PC. So hopefully there's VR support where I can, play it with Oculus or whatever.
Yeah, it's on PC now. The flight simulator.
Yeah, but this particular one that they're doing, the new one.
Oh, okay. I know. I see. Yeah, I got you.
So they ended up putting that in and taking Fable 4 out for whatever reason. According to Microsoft, they ended up doing that. So why they did what they did, I have no clue. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to obviously Cyberpunk 2077. I got that. Man, Final Fantasy 7, number 1. Day one, I ordered the collector's edition. The first class edition with the statue and everything with Cloud and stuff. I can't wait for that game to come out. It's going to be epic.
Well, let me ask you. That game to me looks a lot like Is it Deus Ex or whatever it's called? Yeah, it looks just like that to me because there you had people, you could hack things. You had cybernetics and humans, coming together. You had, so what exactly? I mean, it looks brighter. And I think the other game is going to be better than Cyberpunk because you can put it in first or third person. Yeah. I think Cyberpunk's going to get hurt by the lack of third person.
Yeah.
So, but that's my opinion, though. So, hold on. Everybody knows they're talking about Days Gone because I've been streaming it. Everybody knows that a horde is anything over 10. That's a horde. That's according to Sony Ben, guys. That's not me making stuff up. Ben said 10 or more is like a horde. Because they're going to come at you really fast, really rapid. And I've been killed by a few. I mean, the thing about those hordes is that you get no warning. I mean, it is there. Yeah. It's like, what the hell, man? It's like a herpes. It just come out of nowhere. So, but I do like the game. Yeah, I like the game. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I like souping up the bike. My bike's all souped up now. It looks like something futuristic. I wish it would let you put those LEDs on the light, and I wish the character could change clothes. That's my main complaint is that the character don't change clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, if 5 outfits, give me 5 to 7 outfits, one for every day of the week, and then let me mix match. Yeah. That's it. That's all I'm asking for.
Well, so to be fair. Craig, if you put yourself in the same situation, if there's an apocalypse that happened, the last thing you're going to be trying to do is look for some new clothes as well.
That's true. I mean, you're right about that. But if you're out there killing and you're getting blood all over you, and everybody's seen the way I play. I don't like using the ranged weapons. I like getting in and using the machete. I love that machete, and I like killing those little ones.
Yeah,
I knocked one all the way across the fucking street one time. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for me it was that Avengers game that I saw, and I like that Ghost Recon Wildlands game. But I like the guy. I like John Berthal. He's one of my favorite actors. So I'm definitely gonna get that. And that was gee whiz, that deer simulator. I may have to get in on that thing about I hit the floor laughing when that shit came up.
Oh yeah.
And the flight sim. I have a flight sim now. I've been doing on OBS, a flight simulator, so taking off and landing and stuff like that, showing the Xbox. One day I had to land my plane with no engine. No engine. I had to glide that some bitch in there. And I got it to the ground. It was like I said, look, you see any smoke? It was a night landing too. It was a night landing. So I had to, it was brutal. But I like, look, you don't see any smoke. I got this plane on the ground. So that was my job. It was a hard landing.
Yeah.
But I got it on the ground. But yeah, I agree to flight sim. So anything else tickle your fancy? All right. So Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
That's an exclusive game, or is it time exclusive?
That is a exclusive. It's exclusive to the console. It won't come on Xbox, but it will come to PC, I think, in a year.
Okay. So it won't come to Xbox?
No, it won't come to Xbox.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, that I did not know. Oh my God!
Well, it's kind of like Street Fighter. It came to the PC.
Yes.
Obviously it's exclusive to the PlayStation platform, and Phil Spencer said, back then when Street Fighter, he said he was going to make it up to the fan base by not having Street Fighter. So,
well, I guess he did by not ever getting it. That was the way he showed love. Oh my goodness! Yeah. Now I thought E3 as far as the other streams. What about the Nintendo games? Did you see anything on the Nintendo that you get?
Oh man, Nintendo had a bunch of games. The Zelda Link's Awakening. That's a reimagining of that. They basically the same game, but they update the graphics and stuff. Did a bunch of the animation. Can't wait to play that. Luigi's Mansion 3, can't wait. That's a day one buy for me. I can't wait for that. Yeah, man. Nintendo got some bangers there. I can't wait for that. The Witcher, I can't believe that they're even going to try to attempt that.
Yeah.
It's man, the Switch just can't. Nintendo cannot handle those realistic type games. Third-party games, they need to give it up and just stick with the cartoony stuff. Got to give it better running performance. Which is their first party. So.
Oh yeah.
It's all good with that. I'm hoping they come out with a Switch Pro or a Switch Mini or something like that, with a little bit better performance.
Yeah. Well, I've been hearing rumors about a new Switch.
Yeah.
They can handle, because now that they're getting third-party support, the developers allegedly are, I can't say fouling their complaints, but their concerns about their games are running on the platform.
Hey Craig, I got somebody who want to say hello to you and everybody in the chat. This is my son Jason.
Oh,
hello
there, Mr. Jason. How you doing today, young man?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I can't complain. How are you enjoying summer there, young man?
Really good.
Well, all right. Well, you have a good evening, young man.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, he just stepped into the studio and had to get him acclimated with what's going on and stuff like that.
Right.
But Nintendo, man, they knocked it out the park.
Yeah.
They did save E3, them and then Square Enix.
Yeah.
It's just funny how, Microsoft had the stage to themselves, and they still ended up not being able to deliver. So I guess that takes up the whole argument out the way of who won E3 all these years. If you can't win when you got the stage by yourself, then you definitely can't win with somebody on the stage with you. And for Phil to say, we wish we would have had, Yoshida and PlayStation here at E3, that, it's a big, that is, Craig, I can't, that's cringeworthy.
Yeah, when I was listening to your guys' podcast the other day, shout out to the Multiplayer Podcast. Everybody go sub to Next Gen 720. He's out there. He's putting work in on, I believe the kids call it the YouTube streets. Destiny said, what about Astral Chain?
It looks okay. It's not really my cup of tea. But it looks like it's going to be a pretty good game for those people who like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. The Surge said, once enough, you already had your son sign a contract.
Oh yeah, he's already Team PlayStation. So
all right. What was I don't. Yeah. Now let me ask you about the Ubisoft and then I wanted to ask you something else.
Okay.
All right, Ubisoft's conference. Disappointing, mediocre,
Uh,
okay. Did you see or were you able to hear anything about what's it, Skull and Bones?
Skull and Bones, yeah.
Yeah.
The Sea of Thieves killer.
Yeah.
Uh,
What if you have to chase a black pig?
exactly. Hey, the game looked good. I'm gonna try it out. But my biggest Ubisoft game that they show was um the successor to Wildlands, the Ghost Recon, and as well as I want to see more about this new Rainbow Six quarantine game that they got coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the biggest thing I think everyone was looking forward to was Watch Dogs 3.
Yeah. That looks interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't care for Watch Dogs 2, but I did like Watch Dogs 1 as far as the overall atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, the Big Brothers watching type of atmosphere. I did, I'm a conspiracy guy anyway.
Yeah.
So
well, this time I think you're going against the government.
yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The other one was just kind of, it was fun, but it lacked that grittiness.
Well, it was the nerdy hacker type deal, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I think the problem with games like these, Craig, is everyone's going to compare them to what? Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
So and that's not a fair comparison, because look what happened to Saints Row. They ended up going a whole different direction because people kept comparing it to Grand Theft Auto. So games like that, they don't get a fair shake. I think Grand Theft Auto is the top of the food chain when it comes to open world, do anything, type gaming.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't mind Saints Row. The first two Saints Rows I actually thought was fun. But when you have like the alien invasion one and Get Out of Hell, that was stupid. It just got to a point where it was, but they were going for that.
It got silly. Yeah.
They were going for the over. You jumping off of buildings without a parachute, you hit the B button, and the parachute comes out, even though you don't have a parachute. It was just stuff like that. So, but yeah. All right, so let me ask you this. You did see that Ubisoft is in September or October, I can't remember, is going to have their own streaming game service.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this is the future, that if Ubi is successful, then Bethesda will follow, and that'll be followed by all these other, we already have EA Origins and stuff like that, and on PC. So do you think this will be the future where these big companies, and Ubi's got a ton of games. They got a shit ton of games.
Well, Craig, they drop about 15 games a year, so they have the library to actually do that. A lot of these other people, you got Origins, which is really good. I like their PC, the Premiere. I do like that. But it's coming to the point like Netflix, right? You sign up for Netflix, and then you sign up for Hulu, then you sign up for Amazon Prime, and before you know it, Craig, you're spending $200-300 on these different services. And I don't know, man. I something about that just rubs me the wrong way. I'd rather, let me buy the game that I want to buy, that I'm interested in. I know it looks good, and people say, hey, yeah, but you get all these games. But let's face it, for all these other developers, man, we only play 1 or 2 games that they actually, make. So I don't know. I just don't think that every single game that they have, even if they loaded with 100 games, I may play 2-3 of them. And is that worth my $10, $15 every month for years? Look at Microsoft, man. You got the Xbox Live, the Game Pass, the EA Access, the this and that, and xCloud, and all this other stuff that's about to come out, man. That's $50, $60, $70 right there a month.
Yeah, that's where you're.
And that's just for one type of service. That doesn't include the Ubisofts and all this other stuff that's coming.
Right. That's a good point. All right, so you're kind of on the fence about it. Now, what would happen? Do you think that Or I mean, if you were in charge of that, would you pull your games off of a Game Pass or the PS Now?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
go ahead.
would, because what's the point if another service is going to get my stuff? They're competing with me. I'd rather keep my own. Again, exclusives matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is why exclusives matter. If stuff was everywhere, then what incentive do I have to go subscribe to Ubisoft service if I'm already in the Xbox ecosystem? I don't. I wouldn't have the what do you call it? The benefit to do that.
Right. No, I don't know. I think that's what the next threat is to a Game Pass type system is. I mean, I know Microsoft's trying to inoculate themselves with these smaller studios putting, games on there. But yeah, I mean, if these big studios come out and start doing their own type of streaming, I guess it's not technically streaming. I guess you just go to their site, download it, and play. So,
well, yeah, it's they haven't. It's a service.
yeah.
So, and they hadn't really identified everything, but which is crazy. Because people are, a lot of these Xbox dudes are talking how Sony is so far behind in cloud and this and that, but
we know that's bullshit.
They've been the only one in the market where you can actually stream games and download them for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
so they're the only ones that's actually proven in the product.
Right. You're right about that. And so I saw where let's move to Google Stadia real fast because I saw you got the Founders Edition, and I went ahead and scraped around the couch and washed enough cars, and I got the Stadia as well. So what are you expecting from Stadia? Are you expecting 60 frames? Are you gonna be able to play at the optimum level, as they call it at Google?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, because I'll be playing that Avengers game. That's on Stadia. If everybody probably missed that, that was part of their announcement. So is that they're going to be playing that, and that's one game I will get on Stadia. Even though people are mad as hell that the characters minus Bruce Banner don't look like the characters from the movies. Like that would have been too damn expensive. So
yeah, the problem with that, Craig, is if they would have went down that avenue, what happened when these people go away? Then you're stuck with the Scarlett Johansson character. You're stuck with the Tony Stark's character looking like Robert Downey Jr. So I think they did a good job by just going with their own deal, so you won't have to license the likeness of the actual actors. I think money played that, and opportunity to face scan and future updates and stuff like that. I just think it was something. It wasn't really worth it. This is a new video game, so it's not necessarily based off the movies 100%. With video games, they can do whatever they want. They can go towards the comic side, they can go towards the movie side, they can create a whole new whatever they want.
Yeah, this is much more comic book. The characters to me look like the characters from the comic book.
Yeah.
So shout out to Snow Bunny 426. She's a newer sub. Lowcast, how you doing? Lowcast doing work in the Black Manosphere. Lowcast, I'm sure you saw where Google Hangouts is going to be going away sometime this fall. So everybody needs to make plans. So shout out to Impatient Fire, how you doing? Gaming Despair. Gaming Despair, there's nothing to despair about. The Surge, how you doing? Hit that like button, people. 50 people in here. 50 people on a Saturday, and before you go out tonight, get a little game fix here with my man, J-Dub City, fresh from the multiplayer podcast over there, keeping it real and trying to calm people down. He's walking around with his CPR license now, making sure nobody's having heart attacks. He got the pacemaker degree going. But all right, so let's move into the big one here. The Powah narrative, and I spelled it like P-O-W-A-H, Powah narrative, is giving the Xbox community fit. So let me tell you where I stand on this, and then please chime in. If you're going to say, and this is anybody, that because Xbox may not be the most powerful console in the world going into the next generation, that it's already trash, it's already over. To me, you're basically saying that you don't feel they have enough strength on their games. Like you think their games are going to be trash because we see right now that the Xbox X is more powerful than the PlayStation Pro, but the Pro's games look and run better, So
Yeah.
the PlayStation can stand on the strength of its library, its catalog. So what do you say what do you say to people who are like, well, if Xbox gives up the power crown, it's over. Now let me caveat this. Matt's Gaming, shout out to Matt's Gaming. Everybody knows I like Matt's Gaming. But I gotta call a little BS here. Earlier today, he did a video about how the Scarlet was going to be more powerful, and I don't know how they were stacking the GPU. I have no idea, what this guy's talking about. But then he just came out and he said, well, power. He did a video today, and literally at the 2 minute 30 second mark, the guy turns around and says they won't matter. So I want your opinion on this. One. Now, I mean, don't divulge too much, or you'll put yourself in a bad situation. I saw your tweet.
Uh-huh.
I know it was a rumor, but based on anything you may have heard out of E3, I put that in air quotes. Is this true, or is just this people faking the baby? First question, and follow that up with do you think the people in the Xbox the community Xbox, people should start calling bullshit on them because they're literally saying, I don't think Xbox is good enough on the gaming end to stand up, even if it's the least powerful. So hope I asked that correctly.
Yeah. You asked it perfectly. Here's the thing, Craig. When you don't have the games, you don't have the mind share, you don't have the sales, you don't have the talent. You don't have the studios. When you just don't have any of that, you cling to whatever glimpse of hope that you have to get a W in some category. So even though the Slim is kicking the X's butt when it comes to quality of games and being a graphical showcase for graphics this generation, they still will tout that the power matters. And but you got to realize, I asked them every time I asked them prior to the X dropping, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, were you playing on the world's most powerful console? Did you have a PlayStation? Because the Slim and the Pro was the world's most powerful console then. If you didn't go out and buy a Pro or a Slim then I think you need to shut up, because you're frauding. Because obviously, if power really mattered, like you're saying power matter now, you would have went and bought those systems. Even to this day, Craig, even to this day, the majority of Xbox owners have and own the OG Xbox One.
I had one of those things.
Yeah. So I'm just saying the majority of the people have the OG one. And then next to that is the Slim. And then far down the chain is the X.
Right.
So that's just what it is. And yes, the power narrative doesn't really matter. Microsoft said so themselves. Power only matters within the first 1 to 2 years when you're trying to sell consoles out the gate. After that, it's after about a year and a half, it's all about the games. And we've seen that this generation. The X is out and the Nintendo Switch is kicking his ass. So what does that say?
Games.
Exactly. At the end of the day, right? And I'll say this about Microsoft. They can show me services. They can show me remote play, xCloud. They can show me Microsoft is great. Xbox is great at services and features. They are the king of features and services. But none of that matters to me when you don't have any games. I don't spend $500 for features and services. It's all about the games. Nintendo, they don't even have they don't have a party chat system. They don't even have an online, and yet they're killing it. That's because everything else is secondary to games. And I think Microsoft, shout out to them. They have invested in some studios to bring some games, but the type of games they're bringing are like the bleeding edge, the multiplayer. Keep coming back, keep signing up for the service for Game Pass. Keep doing what you're doing to keep coming back. Keep keep that subscription going. That's the type of games they don't want you to buy the big blockbuster game and then after you beat it, that's it. They don't care to invest in that. So they'll go with a bunch of smaller fillers. Somebody shout out to somebody on Twitter. They called it Game Pass fodder. A bunch of Game Pass fodders, a bunch of fluff that you just throw in to make your library look large, but stuff that is no quality. And you can go to the Metacritic scores because I think the last 5 or 6 Xbox games have been in the 50s and 60s. So
yeah,
I think that's the future. Whether Scarlet is more powerful, it won't really matter. It's not mattering now. But to those guys, I think what it is, Craig, it's the facade. They'll hype up power, they'll hype up all these services and stuff. And at the end of the day, just like they did this generation, they just don't show up to buy it. It sounds good on Twitter, it sounds good on YouTube, but when you got games like The Witcher selling only 15% on the Xbox, that says a lot.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, if that's not I thought somebody was trolling.
So that's a highly rated game, Craig. That's a highly rated game. That's one of the games of this generation that everyone loved on every platform. And only 15% of those guys actually supported this game. And it's not like they had a shitload of games to kind of juggle. It's not like, with PlayStation, man, you got 5, 6, 7, 8 games just this year alone that are exclusives that you have to kind of, on top of the multi-plats, you have to kind of juggle and see where you're going to spend your money because it's just so much coming out. They don't have that. So any game that come out for Xbox, they need to jump on it. They should be jumping on it and it should be selling like hotcakes, but it's not. They didn't buy the games, therefore they didn't get sequels. Therefore, Phil and gang decided to put the games elsewhere.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I love The Witcher. I really hope the TV show will be good, but I don't think so because it's going to be based on the books. And I know, because people don't read. So, I read the first 3 books, so I'll be able to follow at least most of it. But I'm trying to get on to the 4th book probably over the summer. But and Henry Cavill's playing the Witcher, lead Witcher role. But yeah, I don't understand. I'm playing that again. I'm doing the Mirror Master DLC right now. So I'm in the midst of doing that. So I'm like level 40 or something like that. You had to be like level 35 just to access the DLC. So, I don't know. That number is terrible. I mean, that number is terrible. I mean, it
was 50-something% on the PS4 and 40-something% on the the PC. So it was, very little that actually sold on the Xbox. And these guys claim that this is their game that shines on the X. So I don't get it, Craig. And maybe that's why the Game Pass model came, right? You get all these games for $10 a month. Well, the guys, it's not like they were going to go out and buy the games anyway, but with $10, you get access to them. At least the guys could, play them, try them out.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. Let me ask you though, any truth in your opinion that the PS5 will be more powerful? I mean, we know it won't matter. They're going to both do the same damn things.
Well, there's multiple sources out there, not 1, 2, not 3, but people are reporting dozens of developers who already have their hands on the dev kits,
correct?
PS5 and the Scarlet dev kits on top of the specs that Microsoft gave them for the dev kits.
Okay.
All of them collectively had said that the PS5 is more powerful. Nobody of credible besides somebody's uncle has said that the Scarlet is more powerful. These guys are clinging to Phil Spencer on what he said about 3 or 4 years ago about he said he'd never want to be in a position again to have the weaker console. So they took that as, oh man, that means Phil is always going to bring the latest and the greatest and he's going to knock it out the park every single time. And that is not necessarily true. He doesn't know what PlayStation is doing.
Yeah. I'll say this. Now, explain real fast. So a dev kit, if that is, so I would come to you and I would say, like, you say you're a game maker. And I said, I come to you and I'll say, this is a dev kit. It'll go up to 20 T-flops, but only spec the demo that I would, I'm requesting you to build. Of course, I would pay you to build it, or a game that you have that you're making, and I would say spec your game to 13 T-flops or 12 T-flops on this 20 T-flop dev kit.
No,
So
no, that's not how it works. This is how it
okay,
works.
go ahead. That's fine.
I'm explaining it to you.
Yeah, break
So
it
these
down.
devs are already making a game, right? They don't
Okay.
sit there and wait for a new console to come. They're already making a game. And so Microsoft and Sony are like, hey guys, we have new consoles coming out within the next 24 months. These are the target specs. This is what we're targeting. We're targeting a processor to run at 3.5 gigahertz. It's going to have 8 cores, 16 threads. It's going to have 16 gigs of memory. It's going to have a SSD hard drive of some sort. It's going to have this and that, and they give them roughly the specs of what to look forward to. So these guys go and build a PC that runs with the similar type specs. This is in the early phase, right? This is in the very early phase. So obviously they put a little bit more memory because they need more memory to be able to run the emulation software on top of the system, operating system, and stuff like that. So they have this PC that they have spec'd out to what Microsoft and what Sony told them that these systems should be, the final spec should be close to in that vicinity. So they go ahead and make their game. And so once you get closer to narrowing down the final, the last year or two, the last year and a half of console development before the console comes out, Sony will actually, let's say build 50 dev kits. Microsoft will build 50 dev kits, actual boxes with, obviously more memory, more this and that, and they'll ship them off to those developers and say, hey, these are the dev kits we're going to use. We finalize the specs. Here you go. So they'll take those particular dev kits that the actual companies gave them. In their way, they can start, they give them, a lot of them goes to their own development teams, not third party, but their own development teams. So Turn 10, Rare, all those guys would have these particular boxes, these in-house boxes, these consoles. And so they'll start building their games based on that spec to make their games look and run the best possible because they have the final spec. So that's how it works.
Oh, okay. No, I understand that now. That actually makes more sense than what I said. So, all right. Well,
yeah.
So,
the error that a lot of these guys, and shout out to Mass Gaming and
shout out to Mass. Yeah.
They're good at what they do. They read articles, they hear information, and they go and report it and give you their opinion. It's opinionated. The problem that they have is they take PC specs on what should come out in a PC. So if a new processor a new Navi CPU and Vega 2 GPU or whatever, if that is going to come out, let's say in December, they'll take that information and say, okay, this is what's going to be in the Scarlet. This is what's going to be in the PS5. But what they don't know is Sony and Microsoft has already sent the dev kits. They've already sent the specs out way ahead of time. So those specs were already set in stone a year and a half to 2 years ago. They're finalized. The only thing that they can add and remove will be the hard drive storage and the memory. CPU is set in stone. They can't wait for AMD to create a CPU and a GPU a year or 6 months before the console actually launches. That's not how it works. This stuff is finalized 2 years in advance. Now they got with AMD and AMD said, we'll build you something. In order for us to build what you want, this custom stuff, you have to give us 18 months. And they say, okay, here's an order, 3 million copies of this for the first batch. And over time, they'll work with the developers and they'll say, hey, we're working on this particular technology to go in these chips. It's not ready yet, but you should be able to do this, this, and this, ray tracing, that, this instruction set. But they don't have it built yet because it's just not ready yet. The nanometer size hadn't got finalized. The technology is not there. It's all guesstimation on where they want to be. So if AMD right now, for example, knock on wood, if there's a earthquake over in Taiwan, then guess what? Our PlayStation 5s and Xbox 2s are going to get delayed.
Yeah.
because those foundries over there are there, and they're building the tech and all of the chips and stuff from there. This is why they try to buy some chips from Samsung, from TSMC, from from a various variety, just in case that stuff happens.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I got you. All right. Now, is there will they send out more than one dev kit if they are, if they're
Yeah, they can if they have multiple SKUs.
yeah. Okay. All
Like
right. I see.
for example, you had the X to come out, right? That's one SKU. You had the S to come out. That's another one. You had this Xbox SAD, this one Xbox One SAD. That's another SKU.
Okay,
My,
that's true.
yeah, you can send out as many dev kits as you want. It just depends on, again, within the last 2 years, those specs that dev kits has to be finalized.
Mhm.
You
All right, I
can't
see what
you can't go and say, hey, I'm gonna change this CPU or this GPU at the last minute. That's not how it works. That
All
is
right.
not how it's work. And some of these guys out here with all these insiders saying, yeah, it's gonna come out with this Arctis
Yeah, what is that?
Vega 3 and all this. Like, stop it, guys. That stuff hadn't even released yet. And they've already told us they're dropping these consoles next year, next fall. That
Yeah,
means right now
yeah.
they need to be stamping out and creating, because they're gonna have to build how many 3 to 4 million units right off day one. The biggest number of units you sell will be the first 2 to 3 days.
That's true. That is true. How long do you think? Because Xbox did say that they were going to. All right. Well, first things first. Do you think that Xbox, when they announced their Scarlet thing, do you think that was just a troll? Because I was watching. I think they're just trolling PlayStation. They just had their guys come out, guys and gals, say the same thing that PlayStation did.
Listen, it's just a rehash. Now, here's the thing about it. Of course, the systems are going to be similar in specs. The OG PS4 and the OG Xbox One with the Kinect, they were similar specs.
True.
Jaguar CPU, 8 cores. The only thing different was the clock speed and the memory.
Yeah,
Not the amount of memory, but the Xbox One had the ESRAM, the DDR3 versus the GDR5 that's in the I think it's GDR5 or GDR6. I can't remember. That's in the PlayStation 4. So those are custom. That's why when they say custom, that means we know what the PC specification from AMD is, but we're going to take it and overclock the CPU even more, or underclock it, or use a different type of memory, or something different than what the manufacturer specified.
Right. Now, how powerful do you think the GPU will be, based on Jim Ryan saying that it should be able to do 4K 120? What is because we know what the spec is of the CPU. So what do you think the GPU should be? Now, I mean, we don't know how fast. Well, maybe we know how fast Navi is, but let's just base it on, I don't know, Vega. We base it on Vega. So, well, how fast do you think it'll be?
Well, it depends. You got to realize, when somebody says 4K 120 frames a second, you can do that in Minecraft.
That's true.
We can run that on the OG Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 right now. If they decided to enable that feature, because that game is not graphically demanding or CPU demanding. So it just depends. Now, if they were to make Minecraft to run at 4K 120 frames, and that's the only game this whole next generation, then their job is done. They did what they said they was going to do. That doesn't mean that you're going to get Cyberpunk 2077 and The Last of Us 2 to run that. That's not necessarily the case.
Speaking of Last of Us 2, Ashley Johnson may have made a faux pas. She may have given up when that game's coming out. So,
yes.
This possibly.
So,
or not, allegedly, she's done that.
The rumor had it prior to her was that since Death Stranding got pushed up to is it November?
November, I think.
Yeah, I think November the 8th. Since
Like,
that
okay.
got pushed up for this year, they were gonna go ahead and launch the first quarter, I think in February, for The Last of Us 2. Um, and believe it or not, I think the original Last of Us, I think that launched in that particular time frame. I don't know, but that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm
So
perfectly fine with that.
there's enough space out there for all that greatness.
Yeah, yeah. You got to realize the last game of last generation was The Last of Us, and if they make one of the last games of this generation, The Last of Us, that's going to be fine because we're going to be able to play that game on the PS5 as well. They've already confirmed that Ghost of Tsushima, and Final Fantasy VII, and a couple of other games are going to be cross generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, now that's what I'm talking about. People are saying that, yeah, okay, we know that 120 hertz or HZ and 120 FPS is not the same. We know that already, guys. There's a little Freudian slip there.
Hertz and frames are not the same, but generally they are tied to one and the same because it would make no sense to run something at 120 hertz and your frames is only 30. You're not doing anything. That's the reason you have those extra hertz for a variety of reasons. For example, look at a game like Overwatch. My monitor is 144 hertz and I have two 2080 Ti's. Well, I can run that game in 4K at over 150, 60 frames a second.
Damn.
With all the bells and whistles. So if my monitor was 60 hertz, a bunch of screen tearing and stuff like that. But if you have the monitor with the high refresh rate, that helps ease that quality, and it looks good, no tear. It just looks it's better. It's more capable. So that's what that is. But again, there's no sense of having that if you're gonna have low frames. So I do think that they're going to have some high frame rate games. Now, here's the thing. I do believe they're going to be doing some checkerboarding next generation, especially with talking about 8K and stuff
Oh, yeah.
like that.
Great.
The PSVR and Oculus and stuff like that run at 90 something frames per second now. So I think one or two of them has like 120 hertz. It's like I forgot how many it's like 60 per eye, 60 hertz per eye or something like that. And so they add it together, and that's how they get the 120. Because they have to have it a minimum. That's the minimum they have to run, and so you won't get sick and stuff like that. So people need to understand the tech, and that doesn't mean that your game, you're gonna be playing Call of Duty at 120 frames or anything like that. I don't think that that's the case. But it all goes back to that. Let's just wait and see.
I agree. We're gonna wait and see. I mean, the internet is tearing itself apart, and so the Xbox community turning itself into fits over the power. Do you just truly think that it's because I heard people on the podcast you were on yesterday saying, well, if Xbox gives up the power crown, there's no reason it's over.
Listen, it's over already.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with power. I mean, you got the world's most powerful console now. What I don't understand it. Why is nobody focusing on that? Why are you focusing on something 2-3 years away? Focus on today. And today you have the world's most powerful console, and you got in the best game they showed you was Ori and the Blind Forest. So
that's true.
Hey,
well,
that speaks volume. Yeah. And shout out to the guys in the chat. NVIDIA is typically better when it comes to GPUs and performance. The AMD, they're masters at getting similar, a little bit lesser performance, but the price is so good you don't mind sacrificing being a little bit inferior, and that's fine. That's perfectly okay. You don't have to have a Titan or anything like that. AMD thrives on being efficient. They thrive on the price to performance ratio. A lot of us bought the 2080 Ti's when they first came out. We looked at the benchmarks and stuff, and while that GPU that was $13 at the time, AMD I think had Vega 64 or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just was it was the performance wasn't up to par, but at the same time, that GPU was a hell of a lot cheaper than that 2080 Ti.
Yeah, yeah. Now, have you seen the Navi benchmarks yet? Have you never?
I haven't, but you know, with the die shrinkage,
Yeah,
that means less power that chip is going to have to use to hit the same what do you call it? The same
I guess the power yield. It will. It will.
the same threshold for the speed, the same
Yeah.
speed. So
Mhm.
if I had a previous generation CPU or GPU that ran at 3.5 gigahertz, I'm just using the CPU for now, 3.5 gigahertz, then the Navi running at 3.5 gigahertz would have, you know, if the other one ran at 80 watts, this one here would run at 50 watts.
Yeah,
So
but
that means
but give
if
you a
you're just going to go with 80 watts, that means you can crank up the hertz, that speed of the GPU up to, let's say, 5 gigahertz instead of 3.5 to hit that 80 watt performance. So that's why I said it's all about the power efficiency.
Yeah, to me, it's about the efficiency. SEAL Team 6 went into Pakistan and killed somebody and got the hell out. I mean, it didn't take an entire armed mechanized unit to go kill Bin Laden. So it just took an efficient team. So that's what AMD to me does. NVIDIA is coming with like the 82nd Airborne, whereas AMD's coming with a precision strike team to give you good results and a lower yield on power, but the same type of performance. So
Yeah, exactly.
so that's I mean, to me, it's tomato. What's better for me is like I tell people is as that first number when I do that benchmark comparison. And I'm like, all right, well, you see this number here, it says $9.99, and this number over here says $4.99. This one over here wins all the time at $4.99. It's nothing else that can be said, because I'm walking out with enough money to go to the club and get me a fish sandwich after I leave the club. So, that's what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, man. Well, brother, bro, that's pretty much all I had. I know you've been busy, so
I am, man. I'm about to fly out to Minneapolis. So yeah,
you are the rambling man.
I think here's the thing about it. The next generation is going to be a copy of this particular generation when it comes to sales, and at this point, sales don't matter. It really doesn't. Um, and I'm saying it doesn't matter this generation because the game is already over. It's been over since 2013. It just took guys 6 years to finally catch up and realize that.
That I agree with. So do you think that do you think the people's, I guess you want to call it the come to Kratos moment, it's sincere or that they're acting for the show? Because I know it's a show.
Okay, so here it is. They are waiting for Microsoft to give them some gleam of hope. And within the last week, man, every day after day after day, and every article after article, every time Phil and Matt Booty and the rest of those guys open their mouths, it's been bad news for what the Xbox community actually want.
They think here's my favorite one. Let me run this by you because this is gonna make you crack up. You'll laugh on this on the plane. Lisa Sue lied. This is what somebody told me in the not the chat, the comment section. Let's just say his name rhymes with Wheeler later. Okay, and in the comment section, they said Lisa Sue lied, and that Sony is not going to have ray tracing. Only Microsoft is going to have ray tracing on the games. And
I know where that came from, Craig. I know.
And that was in the comment section. And then the next one, this is the one you're gonna roll. Here it is. Sony found out what Microsoft was doing and stole their tech and the PS5 is really the new Xbox, and Xbox is stuck with the inferior version that was supposed to be the PlayStation 5.
Oh man, yeah, you're gonna get a bunch of loonies, out there saying all kind of stuff. At the end of the day, uh, Microsoft gave AMD their specs and say, "Hey, we want to target this. We need you to build these chips. We want to target this price point. We needed to come in from here," and they did whatever they did to make that happen. Sony did the same exact thing. At the end of the day, it's all going to be similar in specs. We're talking maybe like this generation, it was 1.3 T flops versus 1.86 T flops. Uh, that is probably a larger gap than what we're going to get next generation. Because even if the Xbox is 2 T flops more powerful than the PS5, uh, at that high of a power performance, you won't really see that. I mean, you really won't see the difference, because here's the thing. Mark Cerny already said, in order to get 4K 60, you'd like to have a minimum of about 8 T flops, 8 to 10 T flops.
Yeah, true.
We can roughly say that both of these next generation systems are going to be a little bit more, if a little bit more than 10 T flops, based on the rumors that they've given us. So with that being said, once you hit 4K 60, what else is there?
Well, to me, that's what that's what I have been saying, is that both consoles are going to do the same thing. It's just, like I was saying the other day, if you say, man, I got to get to that party by 8:00, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna get there by 8:00 as well. You go east to the party, I go west, and we both get there before 8:00. That's the goal. We met the goal. We went different ways.
Yeah.
And my understanding of the way these consoles are going to work is there are going to be some things that the Xbox does better than the PlayStation, but there are going to be things the PlayStation does better than the Xbox, and they are going to really hammer down on that as we get closer to the launch. The launch is 16, 17 months away, and these cats are going crazy. That just shows you how bad E3 was for them.
Well, I say at the latest, Craig, they have to show these systems off by next E3, because those systems are going to be sold 4 months later. So, I'm thinking maybe January, February timeframe, maybe at the end of this year, maybe Sony may do an event, maybe Microsoft may do an event, show you the hardware, show you, what it can do, yada, yada, yada. Not sure. I just know Sony has been displaying their games on the PlayStation 4 Slim, the OG PlayStation, and the games have been looking dynamite. So at the end of the day, I think that showcase there has taken away the whole power narrative, because they're showing you, look what we can do with 1.86 T flops.
Right.
And it looks a hell of a lot better than what you're getting from 6 T flops. So what does it matter anymore?
Yeah. I mean,
if the Scarlet was out today, Sony would still have games that look better on the PlayStation 4 Slim than on the Scarlet, because they have the games that look great, the graphical showcase powerhouses, the God of Wars, Horizon Zero Dawns, Death Strandings, the Last of Us, and on and on and on and on. They just have that showcase. All Microsoft can do is show you Forza and Gears.
Yeah, Forza ain't got no pit crew.
Well, that too. I mean, while those games, the Horizon, why it looks good, but at the end of the day, it's just not a system seller. It's like, looks great.
Forza.
If I follow you want to use,
like you said to me, it's Forza.
Exactly, it's Forza.
I like the Hot Wheels tracks too.
It's the 20th version of a game. Like, how much special can it get?
Yeah. Uncompetitive says he has a question for you. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
Shoot away here. We got a few more minutes left here. Go ahead and ask away. So, because I'm out of question. Oh, how many T flops you think the PS5 will be?
PS5, I think it'll be anywhere between 11 to 12.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 11 to 12.
Does the PS5 release on Friday the 20th, March 2020? 2020.
No. They've already confirmed that it's going to be in the fall. So you're talking about wintertime? Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
I originally thought that was going to be the case, but in order for them to release it in March, which I really thought they were going to do that means they would have to have been at E3 this year, showing the machine off, showing demos and everything else, ramping up for the launch. You don't just one day show a system and then try to sell it to them the next day. The last company to do that was Sega, and they did that with the I believe it was the Sega Saturn or the Dreamcast, one of them. I do believe it was the Sega Saturn. And then that was the end of that. I mean, look what happened to Sega. They went out of business.
The Dreamcast was nice. They lost a shit ton of money on Dreamcast.
Yeah,
but it was a nice console.
Yeah, it was the Saturn. You can't just pop up and say, okay, you can buy our console today. The retailers need to have shelf space for them. They need to have marketing material, because at the end of the day, they buy these things from you and it becomes their product, and then they have to sell it. They're out to sell these things, and so they need to maximize it. They need to have commercials, sales papers. They need to have all that stuff planned. You can't just, it's not easy. They plan these launch dates and stuff years in advance. So I thoroughly believe sometime this year they're going to come out at the latest. It will be January or February of next year. They will have an event. They would show you the games. They'll show you the actual hardware, the new controller. They'll demo it. At E3, they're going to show up with it. They'll let you test it out and stuff like that, and it'll be for sale in the fall, which is the fall of 2020.
Yeah, and
around that time, Horizon Zero Dawn should be ready to complete. Ghost of Tsushima should already have been out. They should, they got backwards compatibility, so they're going to be able to show you how you can play Spider-Man on the PS5 and have it look that much better or perform that much better, just like what they did recently when Mark Cerny said, look, Spider-Man is running on the Pro right here. It takes 8 seconds to load this screen. Right here, it takes 0.8 seconds. That's split snap of a finger. The game's already loaded.
Yeah, that's like Thanos snapping his fingers.
So, guys, next generation is not just about resolution and frames and the stuff like that. They're going to have to show us more. And this is why the tangible stuff is the loading screen, right? Eliminating loading, period. You press the system on, it's on. You press X on the controller or A on the controller to get into the game, and it's loaded. That's the stuff they're going to have to sell you, because they can't sell you on resolution anymore. They've already hit 4K.
That's the thing, is that, but people got to remember Microsoft actually has a shorter step, because they've really preached 4K, whereas Sony still has a bigger step to go with the native. It's not that they don't have 4K native games on Pro. I know they do. God knows I know they do. But Microsoft, what are they going to, after you got to 4K, there was nothing left.
Exactly.
Well, so 8K, and I'm not here to say they won't. I mean, I'm sure Minecraft will be in 8K next gen. They'll come out and they say Minecraft will play in glorious 8K. It'll look like trash, but it's gonna be an 8K.
Well, okay. Shout out to the Surge. He said, "I just hope these consoles have GPUs that'll keep up with their CPUs," and they do. That's without a doubt. They have the Navi and the Vega and the Ryzens and all that. They have all the latest stuff. So the bottlenecks that was on the old systems, those are no longer there. So we can rest assured that these next generation systems are going to sing, and they're going to be a hell of a lot more powerful than what we're playing now. But at the end of the day, look what Sony has been able to do with 1.86 T flops. So you can imagine what they can do with 10, 11, 12, maybe even 13.
Yeah, I'm hearing close to 12, but I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, as long as like the Naughty Dogs and Gorillas, they're going to say, here's what we need, and that's what Mark Cerny and them are going to build. and they'll make the third-party guys just come in on that. You know, it's like, well, if you can't get this to do that on this, y'all don't need your jobs.
Yep.
I mean, that's what Mark Cerny is. They say, like, you can't get it to do this because I can get it to do it.
Yep.
So that's what he'll say. It's just his thing. Now, Andrew Wilkins said that Tony Stark is returning in another Marvel movie as an AI that's not being confirmed, and Captain America and Peggy Carter are coming back. They've got they got 2 new contracts, so have to wait and see how that works. But Captain, the reason why Chris Evans is actually going to direct some of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, so he's getting into the director's chair. He's going to also help write some of those shows. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out for him. But yeah, Jay, I agree with you, J-Dub City. It's I don't think the power matters that much. So Jemiah, since you signed a bot contract, you love it. Oh my goodness, they want to know.
Facts.
Jemiah's got a 2080 Ti.
Yeah.
So I saw Control running on that 20. I don't know, was it twins? Does the 2070 have ray tracing as well?
Yes. All the RTX cards, the 2060, 2070, and 2080.
Oh, okay. Well, the 2060 is more affordable, guys, but I would say get that 2070.
Well, think of it this way: 2060 accomplishes 1080p ultra in anything, right? Okay. Then you got the 2070 that 1440p ultra in anything, and then you got the 2080 Ti that is supposed to target the 4K stuff. So look at it like that.
Yeah, there you go. That's I like that. All right, then what about the 1070, 1060, 70, and 1080 Ti?
Similar thing. Except you got the 1080p, the 1440p, and the 1440p 100 plus frames.
Oh, okay. I got you.
1080 Ti, it can do 4K in some games, but that wasn't the initial target because 4K was not the main focus when that card came out.
All right, then I'm laughing at Jemiah Dixon.
Yeah, he's funny.
He said, I mean, look, I thought the E3 was disappointing because of lack of gameplay. I mean, they had a lot of games with no gameplay. Now, according to Jonathan Zaire,
a lot of multiplayer, yes.
Yeah, there was nothing but multi-plat. So, and I mean, don't get me wrong. The Cyberpunk game was running on a 1080 Ti, allegedly.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know what to expect from Microsoft anymore. I mean, I know what's going on, but I feel bad for the people that are hitting the wall. It's like you say, people are hitting the wall. Like that bug at 2:00 in the morning. You're like, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they going through right now. Yeah, he's like, man, fuck them niggas. Damn.
Oh, man.
So yeah, but all right, bro. We'll get on off here. It's a little after 8 Eastern time, and
all right.
I know people here want to go watch Scumcast and listen to that Damage Control over there. So yeah, I'm gonna I got Captain. I watched Captain Marvel, and I'm gonna go out and have a Craig Weiser. But J-Dub, man, thanks for coming on, man, and getting. I know you're a busy man.
Anytime, man. It's always good chopping it up with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So go ahead and shout yourself, though, brother. Oh, what do you think about Game Pass, the PC Game Pass? That's what I meant to ask you.
Oh, it's good. It's going to be good, man. Again, that's where Phil wants you to play, so I support it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I did. I know for day. All right, did you end up keeping your days of play PS4?
I did. I got it right behind me right here, man. Again, I put it out there. I always put Craig. You know me, man. I put my money where my mouth is when it comes to that. I'm very supportive of Phil and Xbox. And those I want to push them to do better, and so I put my money out there in hopes that they would take it. And they fail, and therefore I'm still stuck with this days of play custom PS4 with all the games.
Well, and he had a ton of games. And this for everybody knows, if you want a new PS4 gamepad, get one by Monday, go to GameStop, take your old one in. They will, because the new ones right now are on sale for $44. They're like $44.99. You can walk out with a brand new controller for $20. Because they're going to give you $25 towards your trading. but you have to get a gamepad at GameStop. That's where Days of Play. I think that guy said it ends tomorrow at 6, at least Eastern time for me. So I'm thinking about getting one. And they got some good deals up there. You get both Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey for under $40. That's both games. That's a great deal. So go check that out, guys. They got 2 buy 2 get 1 free. They got the Hitman game. I may go buy that new Hitman game. I forgot that game came out. I literally forgot that game came out. And I like Hitman because I like setting up my kills. So, but all right, guys, we're gonna be off here. J-Dub, go ahead, shout yourself out, brother.
Hey everybody, it's your boy J-Dub, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation and all things gaming. It's been great chopping up with Craig here again. You guys make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and check me out on Twitter. You can check me out at JDubCity16 and keeping you guys laughing with the gifts and the memes. You know what I mean? Peace.
All right, yeah, this is the black man in the green chair. Everybody have a good tonight. Enjoy Father's Day tomorrow, or as I like to call it, National I Forgot to Pull Out Day, and I got that phone call 6 weeks later day. So, all right, then, I will talk to you guys later. This has been Craig and J-Dub chopping it up with you one more time. Enjoy your Saturday evening, guys. Peace.